So both players at this point looking like they're going to be doing some sort of Hydra Roach action, the only difference being that SLush has that Baneling Nest, whereas... Oh, and he also is getting his Infestation Pit, whereas mOOnGLaDe is going mostly Hydra Infester, it looks like, possibly some Roaches later. Looks like a large army starting to build here for SLush. SLush also just taking his third base now, so is going to begin pulling ahead economically. And mOOnGLaDE still with the high worker count, 51 over 39, so mOOnGLaDE definitely keeping up in drone production. That is one thing these spine crawlers are letting him doing, is just drone up a little bit after losing his main. So in the end, this may come out to benefit him, as his income has kept up. Looks like he's going to take his third base as well, although SLush does scout it with that Zergling. Looks like SLush coming in with more Zerglings, trying to harass, maybe prevent that expansion, cause a cancel for mOOnGLaDe. And it looks like mOOnGLaDE bringing some Infestors, getting a nice fungal growth on about half of those Zerglings, so they aren't going to be doing a whole lot. These Zerglings going to be able to come in and finish that up and clean it up for mOOnGLaDe. And SLush forced to fall back with that small attack. So SLush not able to force the cancel, but does get the information he needs to see what mOOnGLaDe is doing as far as his expansion path. Meanwhile, the third for SLush is up and running at this point. And if we go to the production tab, we see that looks like SLush already getting missile attacks level 2, so he is ahead in the upgrades right now. Meanwhile, mOOnGLaDE bringing out 14 Hydralisks and 8 Roaches, so going into major offensive unit production right now, as well as getting that Glial Reconstitution. Glial, I think I'm saying that right, Glial Reconstitution? Sounds good to me, I don't know. As well as an Evolution Chamber. Start working on his own upgrades. And so we do have an interesting combination here. There are some Roaches, but it is mostly Hydra Infester, it looks like. So that's not something I've seen very often. Maybe some of you out there have seen this before. This is kind of new to me, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Looks like mOOnGLaDe moving in to sort of secure this, going to be able to take out those few Zerglings. Not much of a problem there. mOOnGLaDe doing some more scouting, SLush making sure there aren't more bases beyond that right there. We do have Overseer out for mOOnGLaDe, keeping an eye on the northern part of the map. That's going to give him a lot of good information. And it looks like mOOnGLaDe getting out missile attacks level 1. So he is significantly behind in the upgrades as well. And this army is starting to look pretty beastly for SLush. We'll probably see some sort of aggression come out in the near future, I would imagine. mOOnGLaDe also getting more Infestors. So if we go to the unit tab, he is up to, it looks like 4 Infestors. 2 more, that'll make 6. As well as 19 Hydras. It looks like SLush definitely ahead in the offensive unit count. If we go to the army tab, yeah, SLush about 35 food ahead right now at this point in time. So SLush still with a commanding lead after taking out the main of mOOnGLaDe early in the game. mOOnGLaDe doing everything he can to try to regain that balance. He is keeping up admirably in the worker count though. It looks like SLush able to be just ahead on bases and therefore be able to produce units just that much faster. Let's go back to that army tab again. And it looks like we do have an attack coming out for SLush right now. Pretty large attack, moving everything he's got towards that third base of mOOnGLaDe. We'll have to see what he has to defend that. mOOnGLaDe having mostly Hydralisks and Infestors right now with some Roaches thrown in. So here we go, folks. Here's going to be the first big battle of this match. Looks like SLush about ready to move in here. And SLush is moving in with his attack now. mOOnGLaDe has to defend. Those spine crawlers are not going to be burrowed in time. They're probably going to go down very fast. The Hydralisk going in, but getting a big fungal growth from SLush on most of those Hydras. This is not looking very good for mOOnGLaDe at the moment. SLush moving in to the third base of mOOnGLaDe. Although mOOnGLaDe getting some nice fungals down on the Hydras too, preventing more of those Hydras from streaming in. And a lot of Infested Terrans going down for mOOnGLaDe, trying to maybe tank some of the damage coming in from those Hydralisks. And the battle is starting to swing in the favor of mOOnGLaDe. We've got that big line dance going on there. I always think when 2 Zerg armies meet and they get the big line, it kind of looks like a line dance. I don't know. I grew up in the country, maybe that's why. It looks like mOOnGLaDe able to hold off that attack with some nice play with those Infestors. Those infested Terrans rather really seem like they saved the day there. And so mOOnGLaDe left with a pretty decent army, whereas SLush did lose pretty much everything, but being that he is maxed out as far as the maximum 200 supply goes, he's able to just replenish that army very quickly now. So SLush hanging back for a moment, kind of taking stock of the situation. If we go to the army tab, which we were on already, both players pretty much even, 145 over 142 right now. Let's go to the production tab. Looks like we do have a Carapace level 1 being upgraded by SLush and an Ultralisk cavern going down, so SLush going to be changing things up a little bit, going for some Ultralisks now. Let's go back to the unit tab. I'm kind of curious to see what they have. Both players pretty much even on Hydralisks right now. Looks like mOOnGLaDe does have a few more roaches as well as infestors. Moving around that army, looks like both players taking their 4th base of SLush up there. It looks like mOOnGLaDe down here. So both players expanding it around the same time. Let's go back to that income tab. Both players still fairly even, although SLush is still slightly ahead. 9 more workers right now, which is looks like he's getting about 400 more minerals. Both players about dead even on the gas. Looks like SLush is planning some sort of aggression here. Moving in with another Roach Hydra attack with some Speedlings leading the way this time. Passing by another Mengsk statue. How many of those can you really have in your city, honestly? He's a popular guy. And looks like they're probably going to force a cancel on this 4th base of mOOnGLaDe. Yeah, mOOnGLaDe forced to cancel that. So a small victory for SLush there. Going to try to move in, but it looks like mOOnGLaDe does have the Spiritual Force. A nice fungal going down on some of those Hydralisks there. And it doesn't look like mOOnGLaDe is going to have much trouble holding this off. He does pull back to let the Spine Crawlers get in on the action. Looks like SLush is going to try to push in. A nice fungal going down on most of those roaches. Got a lot of those there, and it looks like that is going to help him a lot. mOOnGLaDe does have the high ground. More infested Terrans going down to try to distract the shots from the Hydras. And once again, mOOnGLaDe using those infested Terrans to sort of even out the numbers in the armies. And there's the big long line for each force again. And it looks like mOOnGLaDe might be barely able to hold on. Looks like he is defending and actually looking in pretty good shape again. This one Terran making a run for it. Looks like he wants to retire, but it's not going to happen, as the infested Terrans do have a short and sad but glorious life. Meanwhile, we have, looks like, some overlords for mOOnGLaDe studying the art that goes into the various Mengsk statues around the city. This one overlord going, yes, I believe it's from the Victorian era of Mengsk art, and the other overlords nodding in agreement. They're like, yes, it's quite beautiful. Exquisite work there. mOOnGLaDe transferring some more drones up to his 3rd base, as well as taking bases 4 and 5. It looks like SLush does have his 5th base going, and 4th base in full swing, so it does look like SLush is getting significantly ahead in the income tab right now. If we go to the army, looks like SLush is still ahead there as well, putting down some Spine Crawlers of his own. Those are, I believe, the first Spine Crawlers we've seen from SLush, using that aggression to avoid building any sort of static defenses until now. The Ultras have began to come out for SLush now. It looks like he is up to 6, with 6 more in production, so a lot of Ultralisks. That's going to be 12 as well as getting that chitinous plating. And looks like something else just finished. I believe that was Carapace level 2. Looks like mOOnGLaDe finally getting that missiles level 2. Looks like he hates the Mengsk statues as well. Overlords may not be too happy to see that he destroyed that. mOOnGLaDe appears to be a bit of an iconoclast. If you know what an iconoclast is, good for you. One roach trying to be tough but being taken out. So it looks like that aggression from mOOnGLaDe was scared away probably by these Ultralisks. There are certainly a lot of them. 4 more coming out now, as well as a Nidus worm, or a Nidus network rather. No worms yet, but I would imagine that's what's going to be produced from the Nidus network at some point. So mOOnGLaDe moving around. Always good to keep your army moving. Looks like he does have that 4th base starting to come into production. The 5th base is up, but not a whole lot being mined from it at this point. And SLush still ahead significantly in the worker count, 83 over 61 now. Armies are about the same, 196 over 195. But SLush, these Ultralisks, they look like they're just waiting for this Nidus to finish. Are they going to jump right inside there? Either they're really fascinated by Nidus networks, or they're planning on going somewhere. Looks like we do have a Nidus worm coming up in the 5th base of SLush. Not really being used, but this will be... oh, never mind. mOOnGLaDe transferring to some drones there at just the wrong time. Looks like this Nidus worm is going to get up. I don't think mOOnGLaDe is aware that this is happening. He probably hears the sound now, and we're going to see what pops out of that. Looks like some Ultras. That's got to be painful for the Nidus worm. And the Ultras going to town on that 5th base. Looks like they are going to take it out fairly easily, although mOOnGLaDe moving his entire army in. And the Ultralisk, some fungal growth going down, but they're not going to stop an Ultra. Able to escape back into the Nidus worm after destroying the hatchery. So nice little attack there by SLush.